which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Fryrick?
Here.
Mr. Robinson?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Spillett?
Here.
Mr. Sears?
Here.
Mr. Tillman?
Here.
A reminder to please silence your cell phones during the meeting. All comments and questions will be addressed to the President Pro Tem. Board and staff members will not normally respond to comments or questions during the meeting unless recognized by the President for this purpose. Comments will be limited at the discretion of the President to 5 minutes or less.
Mr. King, is it appropriate to accept nominations from the floor for
Yes.
this point?
Yes.
May I nominate Mrs. Fryrick?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Thank you.
Okay.
You
You can find-
take a hop, skip, and a jump.
I don't know. You bring your own
Yeah,
gavel.
bring my own stuff. Go get my computer.
What's your computer?
Yeah, I'll take it up. There's that, since they insist that we do this stuff like this. Oh, you can touch it. I'll just pass that around for whatever it's worth.
That's the ceremonial.
The ceremonial passing.
Yeah, we can spread out.
That's it, I go for this. That's what I've been, is taking up space. Okay, here we go.
Asking for public comment.
Okay. All right, let me just get this thing organized here, just 1 second. There we go, okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, this will be the first opportunity for anybody in the public who would like to make comment. Please come forward, give us your name, your address, and state your business. Do you have any? Seeing none, we will move on. You have before you on the agenda the July to December committee schedule. Hopefully everybody will take a look at that before the next meeting, I guess. If you have any problems, I suggest that you contact the administrative liaison and let them know. This takes us through November, December on most of the committees, keeping in mind that with reorganization at the beginning of December, some of this may change, but this will hold us through November anyway. So if you have any questions or concerns, please get in touch with the appropriate staff person. Okay, second, we have the approval of the agreement with YSESPA. Let me just read what we have before you. The board negotiating team recommends approval of the proposed agreement between the Board of School Directors of the York Suburban School District and the York Suburban Education Support Personnel Association for a 3-year period beginning July 1, 2018 through June 30th, 2021. The proposed agreement includes hourly salary increases in each of the 3 years, as well as concessions and health care benefits as outlined below. The 3-year contract changing the health benefit plan to a high deductible health plan with health savings accounts effective July 1, 2018. School district supported deductibles for 3 years of $1,500 for a single member, $3,000 for family coverage. Employee contribution of 10% of the total cost of the medical and dental insurance, and the spousal optional coverage remains at $150 per month premium cost. Can I hear a motion perhaps with the change that has also been?
So moved.
So moved with the change that was discussed, the grammatical change.
Yeah, for the public record, the grammatical change is on page 26, and it involves striking the word all employees, just the word all,
Right.
so that it reads that employees shall receive the following increases: level 1, level 2, level 3.
The second?
Second.
Is there any discussion, any concerns? Can we have a individual roll call on that, I think?
Sears?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Fryrick?
Yes.
Spillett?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Tillman?
Yes.
I'd really like to take this opportunity to thank the negotiating team, which is Rich Robinson, Joel Sears, and myself, and to also thank the representatives of the association for the time and energy that they put into doing this and being able to come to an agreement for the next 3 years. It's muchly appreciated and keeps us all on a nice even keel here in the district. So again, thank you very, very much for that. As is has been customary, if I will try to remember after each topic, if there is any question from the public, please feel free to come forward and ask questions at that time. Are there any questions about this new contract? Okay, we will move on. There's another item listed that we would like for approval on May 21st, and that's the recommendation for Joel Sears to be appointed treasurer for a one-year term beginning July 1, 2018 at no compensation. Where you go, Joel?
Is there room to amend that?
No, not really, not
Double
really.
what you got this year.
Yeah, okay. There's just two other things I'd like to add real quickly. This morning, we began the first of a number of employee appreciation meetings early in the morning. We met at the high school and then went to Valley View and had breakfast with the staff over there. If any of you are interested on the board, there's another opportunity tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, and Friday morning. You have a schedule, so anybody's, am I correct, Dr. Ketterman? Please come join us. We'd love to have you share breakfast with these staffs. It's only about a half hour, 45 minutes. I think that would be really good. The other thing I'd like to ask board members, I think, preparing for our transition with our new superintendent, I think it would be incumbent on all of us to sit and begin to think about what we as a board would see as the transition plan and what goals and expectations you might have for our new superintendent, and perhaps that we can get together in some sort of a board workshop or retreat to put our thoughts down so that we are ready to sit and meet with Dr. Williams when he arrives in the district. I think that might be a good idea for us to start working ahead. Dr. Redding, I think it's your turn.
Okay. First item on my agenda, I received written communication from the CEO of the York Academy Regional Charter School requesting that this board take action to approve their request to end their school year at June 5th rather than adding additional days on to the school year. Apparently, this school district is one of the chartering districts and must approve changes to their school calendar. They do already have 190 days of instruction in before June 5th, so certainly don't see an issue in requests. So if there's a motion to accept, I could write a letter acknowledging that.
So moved. Second.
I think that's probably in accordance with some of the reports they're supposed to be sending you on a monthly or quarterly basis. It strikes me as part of their charter. Okay, can we just have a short roll call on that?
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless the chair votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item is also an action item based on the timing necessary for our buildings to get a proof of the student handbooks out and back in time. I know in the past the student code of conduct has been approved by the board, but my practice is to also include the actual handbooks so that there are, in some cases, double notification of students to policies and procedures in case there's ever a discipline action that comes before the superintendent as an expulsion. The handbook links that were put onto the agenda do show minor changes, and I don't know, Dr. Adams, if you're prepared to just give a quick update on a couple things that were changed in the secondary side.
So probably the largest one would be contract for participation. So contract for participation started 6 years ago. It was a big community, administrators, and there were a lot of people involved. And the contract for participation is basically the code that students that are participating in extracurricular, and at the time co-curricular, because music was still, in certain cases, co-curricular. It was like their 24/7 type of code of conduct. We've had it in existence now for 6 years, and through Dr. Ellis and my time of working through some of the issues, I think it's been a pretty large deterrent for the students that participate in extracurriculars, which has been good, and that's what we share with them. It's meant to be an out for them to, maybe avoid some of that peer pressure. Well, there have been some issues that we've come across, and so what we've tried to do is close some of the loopholes that we had to deal with throughout the 6 years that it's been in existence. So nothing major other than maybe clarifying some of the issues. We did add a section under category 3 is if they're confirmed at a gathering where there is drugs or alcohol or any illegal substances. Right now, it's just that there's no suspension, but they need to go through the student assistance program. But then we've had students that have now received their second category 3. So we put something in here for multiple category 3 offenses, and you'll see that. So that's one of the changes. The other large change that we're recommending is just a level 4 misbehavior as per a code of conduct. I.e. a student gets into a fight in school or at a school activity, something like that, a major level 4 issue would fall under the contract of participation. So those are the 2 larger changes that we would recommend for the contract for participation. The other ones would be dress code, real minor, just kind of clarifying some things. We've had it said no rips or tears, and some of the rips and tears, and these sees it every day. Rips and tears if something's worn underneath it, or we're just trying to say a minor tear in the knee or tear down by the ankle really isn't affecting the educational process or how they go about their day. So rather than addressing some of those and potentially taking away some academic time, we're trying to say that some of those things would be okay. Leggings and tights, that has been an ongoing issue for the past 5 years, and how leggings and tights have evolved and through comfort and athletic wear. So we just have an appropriate covering over the top so that doesn't impact any of the students. Disciplinary-wise, one of the things we would like to do, because we're really looking at in-school suspension, is trying to find ways to have consequences for some students that may warrant needing a consequence, but not necessarily going right into an in-school suspension. So they're proposed having a Saturday detention, and then staffing a Saturday detention as we currently staff after-school detention. So there would be ways of just restructure some things to schedule Saturday detentions, and again, another effort to keep students in classrooms for things that aren't disrupting the classroom setting. So those are some of the proposed changes for the high school and for the middle school too. The Saturday detention one, we would be combining efforts with the middle school dress code. We corresponded back and forth with the middle school administrators, and the contract participation does impact our current 7th and 8th grade students, so they would be under that as well. So most all those changes would affect middle school and high school.
Great. Questions for secondary side, and then Dr. Cawley, if you have any comments. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Adams. Dr. Cawley, anything on the elementary side?
Just a lot of happenings at the Rock, just to share. Good evening, everybody. Just want to share that we, at the building level, we did finish up our makeup PSSAs last week.
Greg.
Yes.
As it relates to the handbook. We have that. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Only because that motion's on the floor.
No, I'm sorry.
Do you have?
Book,
Yeah.
no,
There wasn't any major.
No major changes. The only thing that we would look at, we talked about, if there are any changes to the dress code, then the elementary division would take a look at how that would be impactful. But at the elementary level, it's very little.
Yeah.
So if you look at the 4 elementary handbooks, they're pretty much the same as far as the code of conduct.
Thank you, Greg. That's okay. Any other questions on the handbooks? And if not,
Okay. We can do the new roll call if there's no...
I don't have a motion and a second on this.
Okay, you're right, you don't. We get a motion on the handbooks and code of conduct, please.
So moved. Second.
Okay, now,
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless I hear votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
thank you. Next item isn't on the agenda, but I do want to make note on the developing conversations we've had relative to the social services position or the mental health or the student services. And it is an item for the agenda for tomorrow's Personnel Committee. But I did have an opportunity this past week to have some detailed conversations with our administrative team and with our guidance counselors, seeking ideas of what that position might look like, how the job description would be structured, what type of person and credentials we might look for in that position, and got a lot of really positive feedback in our staff seeing that as another layer of support and not the layer of support. And I think that's critical distinction as we move forward in putting this job description together. It's that, you know, we still have trusted adults, we still have guidance counselors, we still have the services that are being provided by PCDH, which next year filter down to all the elementary schools, and the feedback we're getting from the middle school has been through the roof on the positive feedback, and I know high school has seen some positive results. So from the mental health services, there's lots of things that the district is currently working on. As I said, our guidance counselors and looking at some of the job responsibilities that they have and positions that they would see this new resource helping out at, like I said, as a level 2 responsibility. One of the other pieces that I think is noteworthy, this past week, the PAYS survey, and PAYS stands for the Pennsylvania Youth Survey, and it's done every 2 years, and our district participates with students in what grades? 8 or is it 6? 6? Yeah, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Every 2 years, there's a very detailed survey on drug use, risk factors, mental health, and that information has been turned over to the CTC folks so that they can pull the final report and look at the longevity of how the district has been faring. Of particular interest, the questions this year and the results as it relates to the mental health concerns caught my eye. And again, it's a fairly scientific, detailed, and the number of youth that are involved and the responses that they receive. So the results. One of the questions as it relates to this mental health concerns, the most common depressed thought was, at times I think I am no good at all, reported by 38% of the students in this district. 43% of the students report they felt sad or depressed most days in the last 12 months, and 19% of our students seriously considered attempting suicide compared to a 16.5% statewide. So if there's question about need in this district, there's lots of data that we've been hearing, and this survey and the types of things that they're gathering information, I think, support what we've heard over the last couple of months about having another layer of support for the district. So we'll do some more detailed conversation tomorrow and hopefully have a draft of a job description that maybe comes as a first read for our May 21st board meeting would be the plan. Speaking of job descriptions, the next item on the agenda is just bringing the board and the public up to date that our position for the Director of HR, Human Resources, anticipating that position would be hired in mid-July. My conversation with Dr. Williams, I've confirmed that he's okay that we start this process and get it to a point where he is involved with the final selection and the final interviews. But rather than waiting to July 1st to actually post, we're going to post and begin the first round interviews in time so that position is in place July or no later than August. And then we have an opportunity for building reports. And Dr. Gawley, you want to go first?
All right, thank you, everybody. Just to give some updates that we have at Indian Rock, as I shared earlier, that our PSSA testing did wrap up. We had our makeups this past week, at the end of last week. And with that, we did have field trips that were taking place, and these would be consistent with East York and Indian Rock. Our third graders go to the Capitol, fourth graders went to the Redmond Museum, and our fifth graders this past Friday went to Gettysburg. So those are the common field trips that we do have at each of our grade levels. As far as extracurriculars at the clubs that we have at Indian Rock, our Marathon Club, I saw the posting that we had with East York. It was a picture. Our fifth graders also went last week, did very well in the competition. Our third and fourth graders go tomorrow, which is to John Reed Park. We are still continuing with our Big Brother, Big Sister program that takes place every Monday. Our Girls on the Run program also takes place. Our school newspaper, the Roadrunner Gazette, we are working on our final publication for the school year. And then we also have a Miles in the Morning, which is a walking running club that will be basically wrapping up here over the next 2 weeks. We've had some celebrations at the building as far as good behavior with our SWEBS program. We had extra recesses for the kids, and we're planning some snow cone celebrations for the end of the year. If any of you are interested in our district-wide choral concert, that will be taking place this Wednesday at the high school. That's at 7 o'clock. That will be with us and East York. And also this Friday is our Orange and Black event, which is our annual event that we have for our fourth and fifth graders. A variety of different activities that takes place on our high school turf field. Also, other things over this last month of school, we have our Writers Conference. We have our fifth grade social. It's coming up with our fifth graders for our East York and Indian Rock students. Kids will be going to Shanksmere, and then we culminate with our fifth grade graduation. So a lot happening over this last month of school. Even though we're at 17 days left of instruction left, the teachers, we have been working through our teacher conferences end of the year. So I've been meeting with teachers just to go over what their goals have been for the year, our grade levels. They're working on their professional development targets, collecting and also sharing information, survey information from their teacher or from their students, and also from their parents. So it's a lot of sharing and a lot of accomplishments of what we've had completed during the year. Also, this week is Staff Appreciation Week. Our PTO has been very generous. It plans to have different celebrations each day. This morning was a breakfast. Tomorrow is a popcorn bar for the teachers to come in. One day is for desserts. Another day is a luncheon. And one day is just chocolates.
What day is that?
Yes. Just come each day.
What day is it?
Thursday.
Okay.
Yes. So our PTO, as every PTO, is just very supportive, just appreciating
Put
our
that on my
staff
calendar.
that we have. Also, we did recently have an assembly. We had an African drum and dance, which was a lot of fun for the kids. We had a lot of participants that went up on stage, including all staff, so we all got to dance a little bit. That was fun for the kids, but also just to learn about culture of West Africa was meaningful to the students. And then I did want to share lastly with, we did have an Alice drill back at the end of March, where we had Officer Luss from Spring Garden Township Police that came out to the building, and we actually went through the drill with students, which was very productive. And again, just that proactive approach that we have at each of our buildings to make sure that we have that safe environment. But those are some of the happenings that we've had taking place in Indian Rock, and we're hoping to finish strong this last month of school. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gawley.
Thank you.
Anything? No?
May is the busiest time, busiest month at the high school, just with AP exams started today, and then final exams will be coming, and at least I'll hit on a bunch of things going on with concerts and prom and graduation ceremony, and then the students coming back. So we have 2 different sets of finals this year, the way the snow days worked out for seniors and then the underclassmen. So May will be a really busy time at the high school, but some of the other things that are going on, French 1 through 5 students, they authored 35 books that they sent to an orphanage in Haiti. So they completed that project, which was really neat. The kids really bought into that project, so that was neat to see them do that and have a meaningful experience too, rather than just what they would typically deem as an assignment. So that was neat, and the teachers shared that the kids really liked that. We had wellness night, which oftentimes is on the same day as Orange and Black, and that's what we want it to be. It's just where our high school student athletes and coaches come out and take whatever elementary students want to come and just take them through some different sport clinics, and it's a fun night. Unfortunately, we couldn't back it up on the same day as Orange and Black because of the weather. I know we have a baseball game next Friday, so that takes out the baseball facility and any of those student athletes. So we just pushed it back a Friday. So May 18th will be wellness night for the elementary students. So at least we are still going to have it, hopefully, as long as the weather cooperates for us on that night. Our National English Honor Society is going to start into a project where it's going to be an author recognition and notification. So it's alumni authors and community authors, so not necessarily just people that have graduated from York Suburban. So Mrs. Sebula and our National English Honor Society are going to start that project, and they know through art doing that it's a lengthy process to reach out and contact the people and have them commit to coming for an evening. So I'm guessing that'll be a year away before anything actually happens, but we are starting that initiative with them. They're excited about that. I talked last time about our leadership council, and we've expanded our link crew for this next year, and we have a couple more teachers that are trained as link coordinators now, which is great because it's going to give more students an opportunity to be link leaders throughout the school year and help transition new students in, rather than just do the big link crew day at the beginning of the year. We're going to try to keep that ongoing leadership throughout the year for the link crew leaders, but also try to help the new students transition in with building that connectedness and that rapport with other students and teachers in the building. So that's a big leadership program for us. And then finally, I just want to share that a neat story about, or a little bit of information. One of our PE teachers, Mrs. Bellucci, received an email not too long ago from a student who was not very physically active in school, a very solid academic student, but not really into any kind of athletic activity or phys ed at all. And she shared an email just saying how she really appreciated what the phys ed teachers did for her through going through school, and she didn't realize it at the time. But she got involved in some Zumba and some various physical activity classes in her college, and she said it's completely reshaped who I am in school. She said, I tried it and I stood in the far back because I remember what my experience was like in high school, but I at least felt comfortable going because I had the experience of seeing what it was like. And she said, I went from being the shy person in the back, and by the end of the semester, she said I was the one in the very front helping lead some of these activities. And she said, I couldn't imagine what I would do now without physical activity on pretty much a daily basis. So she shared, Mrs. Pellucci shared that at a department meeting. I said, that's the kind of thing that we need to hear. So that's just coming from an alumni. So nice story to have. Questions? Okay.
Thank you, Chris. And that's the end of my reports, our reports.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Redding on his report on any part of it? Thank you to the two administrators for coming and sharing things about your buildings, and it's always good to get feedback from our alumni. Business office report, Ms. Mason.
Thank you. The first 2 items will be build-in, that will be the approval of our budget, our 18-19 budget. Number 3 is a standard that we do every year that allows me to do the budget transfers once essentially the year's closed and we start getting ready for the audit through our journal entries. Number 4, we have to, by policy and code, we have to approve our depositories annually. So that's the banks we're currently working with. The use of facilities fee schedule that is attached, the only changes that I was recommending are the personnel, the increases to the personnel that are at the bottom of the fee schedule. Approving Gladfelder as the broker of record for 18-19, as well as Stock and Leader, solicitor for 18-19. These are all standard approvals that we do. When I say standard, they're annual approvals that we do need to do. The food service budget, we hope to have that ready for approval as well with the general fund budget. The IU joint purchase bids, they are awarding them on May 16th, so as long as there are no surprises, once they get the openings, we will have them ready for the May 21st. And that will be broken out. It's the custodial, the art, general supplies, and paper supplies. Number 10 is a renewal of someone, a vet who is already exempt from paying taxes. If you remember the one we approved a few months ago, that was their first time. And part of the letter does say that it is reviewed every 5 years. And in her review, she was approved again by the Veterans Association. Number 11 is the awarding of the bid for the sealing of the parking lots. That bid is actually being opened on May 15th at 11 o'clock. And we know of at least 3 bidders that will be participating in that, at least at this time. Number 12 is to award a bid for furniture, actually for chairs for in here and in the conference room. 13 and 14 are contracts, 13 being the contract with the Valencia Ballroom for the prom next year, and 14 for professional development through the IU that will take place this year. Any questions on any of those items?
Should Adams County National Bank be ACNB? I don't think they use the name Adams County National Bank anymore.
I'll have to double check. We did approve them that way because on a lot of our paperwork, it's.
I don't think they're Adams County National Bank.
Okay, I'll double check with them.
No, yes.
They're ACNB.
Okay. Informational items, both donations from the Valley View PTO one's for field trips and the other one was for a scholastic book order.
Any board questions? Any questions from our guests? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mason. Appreciate that. Student Board Representative, Ms. Atkinson.
So, Lily Gann was Distinguished Young Women, and we had 3 North Suburban students participate. And Zoe Barberger won $4,000 in a scholarship to college and placed 4th runner-up. And Caroline Liu also won $1,000 in scholarships. So they did a really awesome job. It was a fun night. The senior art show was last Friday, and some of the seniors actually got to display their work in downtown York at a local gallery, which is really cool for an opportunity to not only showcase their work, but some of them sold their work. The spring sports season has wrapped up, except for some of the sports for the postseason. The boys tennis has had a really successful season. Freshman Parker Lando won counties for singles. He placed 3rd in districts and is now heading to states. And then he and sophomore Liam Waterbury also won counties for doubles. Liam Waterbury is a sophomore. And then sophomore Thomas Saminsky and Jordan all placed 3rd in counties for doubles. And both teams are at districts this week. And then the entire team actually did so well in their season that they were at team districts today. Volleyball is also moving on to postseason soon, but they're not quite there yet, so still finishing up their regular season. PSSA is wrapped up last week, but Bio Keystones are next week for the freshmen. And so in preparation for that, we have Bio Boot Camp all this week. So after school, almost the entire freshman grade packs into the study hall room, and they have a review presentation with the different bio teachers, and it really has the improvement to improve their scores. We also have AP tests scattered throughout the next 2 weeks, and so clearly high school isn't having as many exciting events as the elementary schools or middle schools, but we did have our annual physics boat races last week at high school, and then we also have prom next Saturday. And so $50 a ticket at Linwood Gardens, and then we have post-prom at the high school, which is $10 a ticket. And then this Wednesday, the middle school and high school jazz bands and choral groups are going to be at Cherry Lane. So if you want to come out and come see us. This Wednesday. And then some of the things that I already had with elementary schools was the combined concert on Wednesday, Orange and Black Day, and then next Monday is Race for Education. The Writers' Conference is next Thursday, and then this Friday the middle school music ensembles are performing. So, exciting things. 17 days until seniors graduate. So.
It's exciting. Any questions for Ms. Atkinson? Are you going to be introducing your successor next
Yes,
meeting?
next time.
Can we maybe ask who it is? They've already had the election.
Lauren Geyer.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a really awesome volleyball player.
Good. Oh, well, that's a recommendation.
You'll go first.
That's good. Thank you very much. Certainly, as you said, more exciting things maybe at the elementary level. More academic things at the high school, perhaps a little bit. But looking forward to that. Thank you very much. Communications report, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you. The minutes of March 1st are provided. The committee also met on the 26th of April and continues to deliberate over numerous weighty matters. More to follow. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Would you like to try the next one too, then?
I suppose. Personnel Committee. You have before you the personnel report, which includes retirement, resignation, employment, volunteers, and reclassification. Would any board member like any of these items considered separately, or are there any questions on any of these items? If not, the chair moves approval of the below-mentioned items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Ketterman, do you want to introduce our new hire before we vote? They should know who they're voting on before they.
So I'm pleased to introduce to you Ashley Jane, who is with us here this evening. Ashley, we were able to get her on board actually at the beginning of the school year. After she relocated, she taught for 6 years in North Carolina, and she was relocating up to here with her, up to the area with her husband. So we had her all year in a long-term substitute position in 2nd grade at Yorkshire. So we were able to actually see that she's a proven product. She's developed great relationships with her students and families, as well as her team and staff at Yorkshire. And so we're very excited to be offering her a permanent contract.
Thank you. Welcome. Ms. Atkinson. Now, I guess it would be appropriate if we voted on this motion right now. We applaud for Ashley. Welcome to. You can be the short version.
That's a good sign.
We would look really bad, wouldn't we?
This will be considered a unanimous roll call vote unless there were votes to the contrary. Hearing none, motion passes.
You have lots of smiles on your face these days, Ms. Mason, because you have a new accountant coming on board.
Yes, I do.
Okay, good.
Can I just follow up on item number 5 in that list? And I think it was approved as part of that motion. The district has a number of supplemental positions for department chairs and a shorter list of folks who are resource, like I call them department chair light. And the request is because of the number of teachers and the responsibility for ESL teachers that we reclassify that resource position to a department chair supplemental, and it basically changes it. The job description doubles, and so does the salary. So it goes from $1,000 to $2,000.
Thank you for that. Are there any other committee reports? I would just report for facilities that we will be meeting this Wednesday afternoon at 4:30 right here in the boardroom. If there are any others. Lincoln Intermediate report. You have a copy of the Dawn's Early Light, which is always interesting to read and see what was going on with the LIU. And I have no report on the Joint Operating Authority report. Then we move to York Adams Academy, and thus far we have, it's either 5 or 6, I'm not quite sure, York Suburban students who are ready for graduation on June 4th, which will then bring our total to, I think, 59 students overall for this second semester, and puts us at almost, I think, 110 students for the year. So we're very proud of that. And we have recently been working with the Kinsley Apprenticeship Coordinator to see what kinds of programs we can bring to our students at York Adams Academy as far as observation days, working with some of their people, and maybe even eventually participating in the apprenticeship program as part of our program at York Adams Academy. So we're very, very pleased with that kind of connection going on. York County School of Technology. Anybody have any reports from there? I know Lois Ann is not here this evening, so, okay, she said the mini board report for the April 26th is provided. Anything else from board members? Any concerns, thoughts, non-thoughts? Okay, anything from the public? Okay, if not, we will stand adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.